In this practice, we'll be working with the wall. The wall can really help you out in so many ways. It can help lengthen the hamstrings, open the hips nicely. You'll be using a blanket and a block if you have them. If you don't have them, we can improvise for sure. We'll start right by the wall. Some of us don't have much of a lumbar curve, so using a blanket right by the wall, right by the baseboard, is a nice way to provide elevation to support the lumbar curve. The tricky thing about this first pose is to get very close to the wall. So come to a fetal position, and as you come to a fetal position on your right side, make sure your cheeks are touching the wall. Then lift your feet up. You can be on the blanket or not. And it should be just a nice little lift for you. If you don't need the blanket, please remove it. As you extend your feet straight up toward the ceiling, spread your toes to engage the legs nicely. If this is too much of a stretch for you, bend your knees slightly. But keep a nice action in the legs. Enjoy your breath. You breathe in. You breathe out long. If you find that getting close to the wall was challenging for you, see if you can scoot just a little bit closer so that you can feel the wall with the sits bones. Draw your right knee in. Just give it a nice hug. Reach your right leg up. Draw your left knee in. See if you can draw the knee just to the outside of your left ribs. Release your left foot. Bend both knees. Press your feet firmly. See if you can lift your pelvis up and draw it down. Just little movements. If you find that it's too deep of a movement for you, take your feet a little higher on the wall, lift up, and draw down. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, take your pelvis down. Now take your right ankle to the outer left knee. For some of us, that's really challenging with the left leg bent quite a bit, so straighten your left leg. Draw your right knee just a little bit closer to the wall. You can do this by placing your hands, stacking the hands right at the pant leg crease, and draw your right thigh just a little bit closer to the wall. To make it a little bit more challenging, you can bend your left knee a little bit more. But just go to where it feels right for you. Keep your toes spread so that you tone the muscles of the leg nicely. And slowly release your right leg to the wall. Bend your left knee and take the left ankle just to the outside of the right knee. And notice the difference on this side compared to the other. Stack your hands and place them right at the pant leg crease to draw with a little push from your hands to draw the left thigh away from your ribs. You can again bend your knee to make this just slightly more challenging for you. And you breathe in and you breathe out very naturally. Just pausing to let the wall contribute to this engagement that you can get. Release your left leg back to the wall. With both knees bent, place your feet at the wall. Press your elbows down to get just a little bit more of a lift now. As you press your feet and your elbows down, lift up and draw down. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, lift the pelvis away from the mat. Exhale. One more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, draw down. Place your feet together. Draw your heels down toward the mat. Place your hands right at the tops of the thighs. And just give a little press right at the tops of the thighs so that the thighs move just a little bit closer to the wall. And as you do, can you let the heels draw down just a little bit closer to the pelvis? And you breathe in and out very naturally. You press the feet in a pretty engaged prayer position of your feet. And after a few breaths, maybe you can inch the heels a little bit closer to the pelvis while still pressing the feet, especially the base of the big toes. You're really pressing in that area. Continue to breathe in and breathe out naturally. Now slowly fold your knees in toward each other. Let the heels rest at the wall. And as you pause here, just allow the arms to externally rotate so your palms are facing up. Breathe in and breathe out long. Breathe in and breathe out long. Breathe in and breathe out long. Now bend your knees, roll over to your right side into a fetal position, just like how you started. And slowly make your way to a seated position. We'll be using the wall now to come to a chair pose. With your feet at least a foot and a half away from the baseboard. Bend your knees and press firmly through your feet, hip distance apart. Draw your thighs a little bit more parallel to the mat. If you'd like to lift your arms up to come to this pose, by all means, keep the legs really active in this pose. Now release your hands and take your right foot to the outer left knee. Now you might have to lift up just slightly on the wall to accommodate this. As you take the right foot to the outer left knee, in the same way we did before, use your hands to draw the thigh down. Release your right foot. Keep pressing back to the wall. Take your left ankle to the outer right knee. Keep pressing into the wall and take your hands to the top of the left thigh so that you can get a little opening there in the pelvic area. Release out of the pose. Come to all fours position with your feet at the wall. Come down to your forearms with your elbows narrower than your shoulders. With your forearms pressing on the next inhale, lift your pelvis up. Your heels are pressing the wall. Can you take your right leg up and tap the wall? Release your right foot down. Take your left leg up. Tap the wall. Release your left foot down. Release your knees down. If you're using blocks, place your hands to the blocks. Step your right foot forward. Your left foot is still at the wall. The use of blocks just gives you a little bit more space. If you lift them to the tallest position and push the wall with the back foot to come to a straight leg lunge, the back heel is pressing the wall. Both legs are straight. Bend your elbows and draw down. Keep on pushing into the back heel at the wall. Inhale, rise up. Try to keep the spine as long as possible as you do these actions. Bend your elbows, draw down just slightly. If you're feeling too much pulling behind the right knee, then you need to bend the right knee to make it more accessible. And now draw your heart down slightly. Lift up. Bend your back knee and step the right foot back. Have the right heel at the baseboard. Take your left foot forward. And same thing, lift yourself up so that the back leg is straight, the front leg is straight. So another hamstring stretch. But if this is too much for you, bend the front knee. Keep pushing through the back foot. Bend your elbows. Draw your heart slightly more forward than down. So you're just allowing a nice pulsation of your breath as you breathe in. You breathe out. You breathe in. And you breathe out. And you breathe in and you rise up. You breathe out and you draw down. Come to all fours position again. You can move your blocks to the side. The work that we just did really gave us a little bit more length to the back side of the legs. So come down to your forearms again. Interlace your fingers. With your fingers interlaced, with your toes tucked under, right at the baseboard, lift yourself up. You can do the same thing that we did before with the right leg lifted, then come down, take the left leg lifted, or you might want to just check in to the hamstrings here. So as you lift your right leg up, you can use the support of the wall. Your left leg can lift up. Maybe you can even walk your feet down the wall slightly. Whatever works for you, just enjoy the inversion, the stimulation that being upside down gives you. We'll come to a standing pose. And you'll see how the support of the wall really helps us with balance. With your left foot at the wall, the right foot forward, take your arms in an elbow frame. Just hold on to the elbows behind your back. And as you do, just draw down. Now keep on pushing into the back foot like we were doing in the straight leg lunge before. Draw down. And notice how you get such a nice calf muscle stretch, back leg stretch. Inhale, rise up. Come to the opposite side, so step your left foot forward. Take your right foot back. Press the right heel to the wall. and it gives you the sense of balance. You can go slowly into the pose as you hold on to your elbows. The back heel is planted so that you can very easily draw yourself into this forward fold. Just allowing the breath to take you to a deeper place. Keeping the back foot anchored. And inhale, rise up. Let's trade sides again. So step the right foot forward. Step your left foot back with the back heel anchored to the wall. You feel so secure in this. If you'd like to use your blocks now, that might be a great thing to do because we'll be coming into a twist. As you keep your back heel planted, come to a forward bend. And as you do, just free your left hand. You can place it to the block. You can take the left hand to the shin if you like. You can take the left hand even to a block to the right side of the right ankle. But for most of us, just taking your hand to the block on the left side is plenty of stretch. As you press your hand down, lift your right arm up, and you get this nice balanced pose. Release your hand down. Step your back foot forward. Step your right foot back. Find the wall so you're anchored very firmly. With the hands at your hips, draw your heart forward and down. Free your right hand and place it to the block or your shin or the block to the left of your foot. Turn your heart. Keep your back foot anchored. Reach your arm up. And exhale, release out of the pose. So inhale and rise up. We'll do one last pose that you see the great advantages of using the wall. By putting your foot on the wall in a pose that looks very similar to this, except one foot's on the wall. The form of the pose is similar in that you get a nice stretch to the back side of the legs while getting a twist. So step yourself about leg distance from the wall. So find out where that is for you. If you want to use the blocks, please grab them so they can support you. As you find the wall with your left foot, press the left foot to the wall. The hands are to the blocks. And in a similar form that we just did, keep your left hand to the block. Turn your heart to the right. You might want to even reach your right arm up. Release your right hand down. Keep your foot at the wall and just draw your heart down toward the mat, just slightly. If this is too much of a stretch for the back side of the leg, by all means, bend your knees so that you can go a little deeper. Release your left foot back to the mat. Take your right foot to the wall and root into the wall very firmly with the right foot. Get a nice balanced action here. You can take your left hand to your low back and twist. Turn your heart toward the left. Reach your left arm up if you wish. Release your hand down. Bend your elbows and draw your heart toward your standing leg, keeping your back leg securely on the wall. Slowly release your right foot down to the mat. From the standing poses using the wall, let's come to a squat position. So as you push your pelvis into the wall and take a nice wide stance, can you come to a squat with the support of the wall? Keep on drawing yourself down, and your knees will tell you when that's enough, but see if you can come down very easily, just using the wall to help you come down to the floor. Now take your feet nice and wide apart with the support of the wall behind you. Get tall, lift up, turn toward your right foot, extend your right hand to the outer right leg, maybe even the outer right foot, and inhale, rise up. Use the wall to help you get really tall. Take your right hand to your left foot, do a nice twisting action toward the left outer shin, even the left baby toe, and inhale, rise up. Come back to Baddha Konasana by bringing your feet in at this prayer position. Using the wall, you can just get nice and tall in Baddha Konasana, holding on to the shin bones. Lift your shin bones slightly. Now move away from the wall and draw slightly down. Just getting a nice stretch to the inner thigh muscles. Inhale, rise up. Now let's come back to the wall in Viparita Karani to use that for our Shavasana pose, our final resting pose. So do you remember how to get into the pose? You come to a fetal position first. So you get as close to, hopefully, touching the wall first. Come down to the floor. Keep that contact to the wall. Lift your feet up. And if this feels too close, too much of a stretch for you, just bend your knees nicely. Come back to a nice ease in your breath. You breathe in deep and out long. Soften your facial muscles. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Just breathe freely and naturally. enjoy this time in Shavasana. Namaste.